Welcome to episode 10 of Sleeping Beauty, the Jaguar Mk2 that I revived and got back to life. I haven't had a chance to do too many videos recently because I've had a new job, but today it's miserable outside. It's probably about 16 degrees in Adelaide, South Australia, and it's been raining, so I'm just managing to catch up with some of the videos. So I hope you enjoy this one. It's a bit of a mucky job. It's all about getting the handbrake to work. So I hope you find something interesting in it. Happy watching. When I was young and started to fix cars up, just as an amateur kid, one of my mates told me to never do anything with the car until the handbrake works, which is a good point because all sorts of things can happen. So I've had a look in the book, and you can see the handbrake cable is just slack as anything. And the book says to take the split pin out from here, take the round pin out, which goes through the clevis, then slackening off this nut, you can turn the clevis on the thread, so the thread's there. Now, I'm not actually that optimistic about this because the cable from the front of the car is really slack, but we'll just give it a go and see how things turn out. So I'm just going to try and remove the split pin, and of course I've got the wrong pliers there for that. Okay, there's the split pin gone, and we'll just take the chrome plate. Just punch this out if I can't get it. No, there we are. Okay, so you can see, well, one thing you can see is how disgustingly filthy it is. Now, unfortunately here, that thread's all gummed up as well, so I'll have to, I might actually take the clevis out and clean it. It's just terrible. One thing I try and do is bring as many spanners under the car as I can lay my hands on, so it's not a 3/8. And then it's not a 10, it's not a 12, and it's not a 3/8, and it's not a 5/16. So I'll have to go and see if I've got an 11 or something like that. So you would have noticed that I took that clevis pin out. I use these takeaway food containers. That saves losing the pin, or you know, it might roll away somewhere, or some disaster like that. So I've got the multi-grips. I don't really like multi-grips, but they'll do. I've got an 11mm spanner. So I'm just going to loosen this off. In this, it is absolutely caked with something disgusting. It was probably diff oil from some time in the long distant future. Absolutely caked. And you can see there's some semblance of a thread under there, but I'm not going to be able to do anything with that until I give that a bit of a degrease as well. In fact, what I might do is do that now. So nowadays I do try and sort of keep a bit neat and tidy with things when I'm working on them. I get absolutely sick of losing stuff. I don't see there is a thread under there somewhere. So even though the rest of the car's in pretty good nick,
some of this stuff may not have been touched for decades. Alright, so I'm going to just undo that clevis and take it off and just clean it properly because it's just terrible. Now, one thing that worries me is if the cable is so stretched that the thread won't be long enough to adjust the cable up tightly. So I'll just zip off and give this a bit of a clean because it's just caked in stuff. I don't really like chopping things that weren't designed to be chopped, but I think in this circumstance I'll have to make an exception because the cable's just too stretched. And hopefully it's not hardened. I reckon I'll need about 1 inch. Right, I'll just get a little file and just clean the burrs off. When I was at school, we loved how these files were called half-round bastards. It was very risque for the school I went to. So we'll just get that, I'll just get a bit of a squirt. You can never have too many squirts. Yeah, I'll just make sure we can ease this clevis on. So remember when we started how yucky and gummed up it was? Well, it's actually going on quite nice and freely now. So that's sort of in the on position. No, that's the on position. I guess proper Jaguar mechanics have done this a million times. Probably got all sorts of tricks and techniques. So that's going to be in the on position. What do I do now? Because I think we're sort of getting closer. I'll put the pin back in. Right, so I'll just let that release. And I'll just go and try the lever. I don't think it's quite tight enough yet. No, I'll just take the pin out again and just do that clevis up a few more turns. This really is a filthy job, and I really don't like lying under cars. So I'm kind of running out of adjustment on the cable here. So I have got some handbrake fluid at the top. So I think what I'm going to have to do is just wind this completely up. And then I could probably take that nut off and get a bit more really. So we'll just go and try the handbrake now. Right, well, I think that's about as good as I'm going to get, and it actually feels quite good at the top. Right, so now it's got to find the right spanner again. Which is that one, thank goodness. I don't have to get up again. I don't know if you can remember how disgusting this was before. If you hear the racket behind me, the neighbour across the road spent $450,000 on a new Mercedes last year. It's, I don't know, some sort of SL Sport, not an SL, GTR, something like that. So don't forget to put the split pin back in, or a new split pin, sorry, because then the whole thing will fall off while you're driving along, then you won't have any handbrake, and that'll be the end of it. Alright, so there we go. Yeah, the awful bit, of course, is cleaning up after all that. So I'll put some dishwashing detergent down on the ground, give the place a bit of a clean up. But you can see the cable's not nearly as slack as it was. Still not great, but
So after I adjusted the cable and made all those changes, I had a closer look at the mechanism that the handbrake uses to keep the car stationary, and there are a supplementary set of calipers which actuate against the brake discs. So these are small calipers, and there's actually an adjusting screw on each caliper. So I noticed that my clearance was a bit too big, so I just gently screwed in the adjusting screw until I had minimal clearance between the disc brake pads, the handbrake disc brake pads, and the disc. And it's a self-adjusting sort of mechanism by the look of it. So anyway, now my handbrake works well. It's got a nice solid pull to it, and it certainly holds the car nicely. So anyway, I hope you got something out of that video, and in case you're wondering about the plaster on my finger, that's when I put the spare wheel into the wheel well the other night, and I held the wheel like this. It came down and my finger got caught between the wheel and the circle in the boot, and it has been very sore. So anyway, don't do that. Okay, see you next time.